And welcome everybody to episode 19 of Comic Confidential, the weekly podcast where we bring you the week's comic-related news, views, and reviews. I'm your host, Kade, and with me, as always, because I can't seem to get rid of him, Troy.
Well, where else am I going to go?
I don't bloody know, mate. That's your problem.
Just get out.
Just go.
No, you're stuck with me.
Yeah.
Until you find a better replacement.
Bugger.
Good luck.
Yeah.
What's
How you
going
been? How you going?
Jinx? No, what's going on? Tell me.
Not much. I feel like I need to go back to the gym.
Yeah? Why is that?
Yeah. I saw some pictures of J.K. Simmons, and he's getting jacked.
Yeah.
And I mean, super jacked.
Dude is swole, jacked and tanned.
Yeah.
61 years old.
Yeah.
Not probably 61-inch biceps as well.
Yeah,
at
they're
least.
massive.
Yeah, man. Dude is like getting into some shape to be Jim Gordon in the Justice League, man.
Could Commissioner Gordon be the biggest guy in the DC universe?
Look, maybe. Ben Affleck is pretty big.
Yeah.
I think Ben Affleck got some size on him. But I reckon J.K. Simmons got that old man, that sort of wily sort of, I don't know, if they got into it, I think he'd have some tricks up his sleeve.
He's got that old man strength.
Yeah, that crazy old man. That's exactly it. Crazy old, when you try to wrestle your granddad.
Yeah, that's right.
People do that, right? That's not weird, right?
No, not at all.
Just my upbringing, perhaps. Yeah, so that's good. Good on him for getting into some tip-top shape.
That's it. Makes me want to dust off my gym membership.
Oh, that thing would be dusty.
Yeah, it's at least under an inch of dust.
And some other exciting news. Well, not news, but like I guess a milestone that happened this week is Ghostbusters turned 32.
That's awesome.
That is awesome, man. And let me tell you, because I have watched it relatively recently, and when I say relatively recently, I mean like within the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Like I haven't watched it this year. I think I probably watch it, I think a good couple of years, like every couple of years, I think.
Yeah.
I break them all out again.
This was before Netflix came around. We had to watch movies on free-to-air TV.
Yeah, or I think they're called DVDs.
Ah.
Yeah, I think they're called, it's like direct video distributors.
Okay.
Or something.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
DVDs. But man, let me tell you, that movie still stands up today. I fucking love it.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with it.
You can't. What do you think about the reboot, though? Like, I mean, people are really up in arms about this thing.
Yeah, I know. It's always a touchy subject when you go to a classic movie and something as classic as Ghostbusters, you're always going to get some backlash.
Yeah.
So, until I see it, I'm gonna hold judgment.
Yeah.
It's easy to call something shit without seeing it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think, you've seen probably a grand total of 3 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Through trailers. I'm not saying like that it's going to be fantastic, but I love like the female comedians that are in the movie. Like I love them.
Yeah, they're hilarious.
I think they're hilarious. Put them all together. Bit of Chris Hemsworth. Bill Murray's given it his backing.
Really?
So, yeah. Oh, yeah. He came out, I think it was the other day or something, and is actually full of praise for it. He may still make money off the Ghostbusters name. I don't know. He might be doing it for that reason. But yeah, he says he's very full of praise for the film. I myself as well will reserve judgment, but it's Ghostbusters, man. Like fucking, let's just do it again. Why not?
That's it. Let's go.
I would love to bring like all the original actors back, but they can't do it. So let's try again.
Yeah, next best thing. And I think a lot of the drama around it is that it's only women in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that a thing still?
It is.
In 2016?
It is.
Really?
It's fucking stupid.
Because because the roles have been reversed.
Yeah.
People are a little bit up in arms.
Yeah. Reverse sexism.
Is that a thing? I don't think
Internet says it is.
The internet says a lot of things is a lot of things.
It's so full of shit, that internet thing.
It is. You know what's not full of shit?
What?
Our listeners.
That's right.
Yeah, so thank you everyone who listens and subscribes to the show. The guys who take the time out to review us as well. Make sure you jump on iTunes and, you can give us 1 to 5 stars.
Yeah.
We don't mind.
anything in that range.
Yeah, just let us know what you're thinking.
Yeah,
That's all we care about.
that's right.
5 stars is better, by the way.
Well,
Just in case you're wondering how the scale works. 5 is best. Yeah.
1 is worse.
1 is worst. You can follow us on Facebook at Comic Confidential Podcast, Instagram and Twitter at Comic Con Pod. We've got a YouTube's.
Yeah,
It is coming.
It is coming.
Look, we've said it a couple of weeks ago, or I think it might have been like 17 episodes ago. We did say we were going to get ourselves a YouTube. We are most definitely going to do that. And it is in the works.
It's
currently under construction.
very slowly.
Very slowly. And we've got the website, comicconpod.com.
Yes, you can go catch up on all the 18-week-year-old news.
Yeah. And TV shows.
And TV shows.
And Patreon.
And Patreon.
Tell
yes,
the folks.
We have a Patreon. If you like the show and you want to support it, jump onto patreon.com/ComicConPod. We are actually getting some new postcards done up.
Yes, we are. Oh, man, they're going to be awesome.
They are going to be awesome. They're also going to be a new T-shirt design.
So wait for that.
Yes, we've got...
we could spend like hours trying to describe what it actually is. We'll have them soon enough, and we'll post them on Twitter and Facebook and all that sort of stuff, so you can see what they are. They're fantastic, as is you guys, not you,
Not me.
yeah,
I'm a terrible
the guys out
person.
there. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's talk some news, man.
Let's talk some news. I guess the news that I'm most excited about this week
Yeah.
is, and it comes from something terrible.
Well, yeah.
And what I'm talking about here is CBS has actually dropped Tom Welling's show, Section 13.
Yes.
So what that means is all that hard work he's put in producing to make this show is all for nothing.
Yes.
Because it was dropped at the pilot.
Yeah.
Which is not very... I guess it doesn't really happen much anymore.
Doesn't it?
Well, no, because everything kind of gets picked up for a full season straight away.
Well, yeah. You'd think, look, I don't know. CBS is CBS.
Yeah.
Tom Welling, surely they would give it a chance. Maybe it was terrible.
Maybe.
Like, nothing against Tom Welling, but maybe the show was just terrible.
Well, that's right.
What it does do,
it means he can play Superman in Supergirl Season 2.
exactly.
And for those who don't know, Tom Welling played Clark Kent, a.k.a. Almost Superman.
Almost Superman. For the last, 2
10
seconds of the last episode of Season 10, from a distance,
Yes.
he was Superman.
He was a little blue dot on your screen.
A little blue and red dot.
Yeah.
And I think CW or Supergirl, I don't know. I honestly can't remember if it was the creator of Supergirl or whoever dropped the actual news, said that they are going to actually introduce Superman into season 2. So now we're looking for actors.
Yes.
Which is why we're talking about Tom Welling, because I mean, fucking why not?
Well, that's it. And he's always a fan favorite. I mean, I want him.
Yeah.
It'll be fucking awesome.
Yeah. Oh man, if you could pick anybody, I think most people would go for Tom Welling.
Yeah.
However, let me ask you this. If you couldn't, for whatever reason, if they decide to stay away from Smallville, the TV show, and try to distance themselves from it, who would you want, or who do you think would be a good person to play Superman? It's not even Clark Kent. It's actually Superman.
Yeah, that's it. Well, the internet is talking about having Matt Bomer in the spot.
Yes.
And I think that would be a fantastic choice. He's a good-looking guy. He looks like a Superman.
He does.
Just in his normal, everyday styling.
I have often confused pictures of him with Henry Cavill.
Really?
Yeah. Just briefly.
Yeah, no, I could see that.
But he does definitely have that look. I believe he's available. I don't actually know. If you don't know who we're talking about, check him out. He was from White Collar, American Horror Story season 5.
Yeah, the most recent
Hotel.
season of American Horror Story.
Yep.
Played it really well in there too, so he's got some chops.
He's got some chops. Anyone else you'd throw out there?
Off the top of my head?
Yeah.
Old mate who played Aquaman in Smallville.
What is that guy's name?
He's in Blue State. Blue Mountain State.
Oh, don't
Don't do this to me.
don't do this to me. Give me 1 second, and I am going to find this guy's name because I refuse to not know it. And it's nowhere.
There you go.
Whatever.
Done.
But you're right. Like he does, because I think that like the guy's fairly Alan Richson. Nailed it. 30 minutes later. So the guy was Aquaman in Smallville. I don't think that would matter.
No, I don't think so.
I forgot he was, to be honest with you, until someone on Twitter reminded me. And it's kind of like, oh yeah, that actually was that dude.
Really?
But I don't know if he's got the right overall look.
Hey, you want to know a little
Who
fun?
am I to judge?
A little fun fact about some Aquaman TV stuff.
I do.
Way back in the day when Smallville was the shit.
Yeah.
They tried to do an Aquaman TV series to play along with it.
Yeah.
And the character who played Green Arrow on it was originally casted to play Aquaman. Very.
Bet you can't remember that guy's name.
No, not at all. Excellent. That's not my thing.
Way to know facts, buddy.
That's all I know.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think if it's not Tom Welling, give us Matt Bomer. People are talking like crazy stuff like Brandon Ruth.
That's stupid. And you said this.
No, I didn't say it. I did not say it. I said Robbie Amell, which is also kind of stupid. But it's because they already obviously have the characters that they're playing in the DC TV universe.
Yeah.
Think about doppelgangers, man. Doppelgangers, son.
No, that
Earth
was just...
4 doppelganger. Friggin', Ray Palmer happens to be Superman. Bam. Done it.
Your doppelganger on Earth 4 is actually from Krypton 4?
I don't know, because I don't know what Earth Supergirl is on.
Yeah.
No one does. I'm just calling it Earth 4.
Fair enough.
But imagine that. So he's Ray Palmer's doppelganger on Earth 4, happens to be Superman on that Earth. The Earths collide. Brandon Ruth plays both.
No, you're done, mate.
I'm a genius.
You are not.
I am a genius. Let's move on. But speaking of, I guess, DC's Legends of Tomorrow, they have officially cast Vixen as a series regular. But not the lady who played it who played her, I should say, in Arrow or the web series, Megalyn E.K.
Megalyn. Is that like a regular Lynn, but better?
But bigger? Yeah. A mega? Yeah. It's like a giant Lynn. And so they're going to run with a different version of her, not of Megalyn. They're going to run with a different version of Vixen, and they're currently casting for it. So that means they've filled one of two rumored series regular spots. So there is still one more to fill. I still have my fingers crossed for Constantine.
They'll be fucking stupid not to do that.
Which is one of the other rumored ones.
Yeah.
I don't believe Matt Ryan is doing anything at the moment.
Well, if you've got Vixen in there, she's a very spiritual character.
Yeah.
Why not have a buddy with her?
Well, remember, I think in that whole... was it that Arrow episode? That...
He wasn't available, so they got Vixen.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I knew he was mentioned somehow. So that'd be cool. So Vixen, yay, that's great.
That's cool.
But yeah, let's see if we can get Constantine in there.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Hashtag bring back Constantine.
Hashtag bring back Constantine to Legends of Tomorrow. Use your whole 140 or 60 characters or whatever it is.
Yeah. Go crazy.
Go crazy.
Wolverine has got a title. The new Wolverine movie, that is.
Potentially.
Yes. Potentially Weapon X.
Yes.
So that kind of just shits all over our old man Logan story theory.
Yeah, it kind of does. It's a rumor. It is a rumor. I don't think it's officially been leaked even or anything like that. But yes, we're looking at Weapon X. I guess when you look at X-Men Apocalypse, they kind of reference that a little bit.
Yeah.
Weapon X has escaped. But that's set in the 80s, so, we're obviously looking far into the future. Maybe he's just looking old. Maybe that's about as close as we'll get to the old man Logan storyline.
Well, he did run off into the wilderness, so...
Yeah.
What can you expect?
Well, yeah, it's true. But yeah, I'm disappointed if we don't. But either way, man, I mean, Wolverine 3, let's just do it.
Yeah.
This is going to be great.
Well, the only thing that I think they might not do the Old Man Logan story, now that I think of it, is X-Men is in this whole fucked up time frame thing.
Yeah.
And obviously, Old Man Logan happens much further in the future. I don't know if they can do that with their other X-Men movies being set so far in the past.
Yeah.
Because it kind of, whatever happens there will kind of spoil any potential things that might happen in X-Men.
Yeah, unless... I don't know, man.
They've fucked themselves up with the whole time travel thing.
Yeah, unless they don't do the initial storyline and they do what happens after he decides to effectively become Wolverine again.
Yeah.
Which basically takes him back into present time, but as Old Man Logan.
Right.
It's very confusing.
Yeah, sounds it.
Time travel, man. Let's move on.
Suicide Squad is going to be getting a PG-13 rating or an M15 if you are down under.
Down under.
What do you think?
I don't know. I guess I don't really care. Like, I don't think everything needs to be R-rated. Like, I'm not calling for that.
Yeah.
You know, Daredevil set the standard, sure, but I don't think we need to go that way. I think as long as it's done well, and I think it's as long as it's done with a lot of humor, and I think as long as the characters are, you know, sort of portrayed well,
yeah.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs to be overly violent.
Well, no, I agree with you here because you have a look at any of the really successful movies, Avengers, or actually any of those Avengers movies, anything really from Marvel,
Yeah.
has all been PG-13, M15.
Yeah.
And they've all been incredibly successful.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed 90% of those movies.
Yeah.
So I don't think this rating is really going to affect it. I think they're doing the lower rating to get more people in the seats.
Probably.
Because
I don't know if this movie needs to worry about that, though. I think the hype surrounding it is massive.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I agree with you on that. But I think they've learnt their lesson with the Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah.
Didn't really appeal to everyone.
Yeah.
So if they just lower this rating, it just opens up the demographic a little bit more.
Yeah, and not everything has to be, like, desperately dark.
No.
You know, so, you know, I think this will bring a little bit of like lighthearted humor back into it, which is great. I don't think, like I said, I don't think it's necessary for there to be any real massive on-screen graphic violence or anything like that. You know, PG-13, I think it's like disturbing themes, I think is,
okay.
you know, that sort of thing. Like, you know, cool.
And moderate language.
Let's just get into it.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's going to be fantastic. I don't think haven't said that about a movie yet so far, though. But for the most part, I think I've been right.
I'm throwing this out there. Most anticipated movie of all time.
My God, man.
Yeah.
That's a claim.
Run with it.
Oh, yeah. All right. Lego. Let's talk about Lego for a sec.
What have Lego done this time?
Because Lego are dead set potentially back at it again with their damn ruining of things.
Damn Lego!
Damn Lego. Look, so we've seen. I guess when the Civil War Lego set dropped, well before the movie dropped, and they released the Giant Man figure, and it's kind of like, oh well, fucking great, Lego. Now we know Giant Man's going to be in the fucking movie.
Yeah.
You've kind of ruined it for everybody. But then they also drop some other things that don't actually eventuate, and you're like, well, okay, what the fuck is happening? Do we know? Who knows?
Who knows?
What they've done this time is they've actually dropped a their first Doctor Strange movie Lego set, and in it, you see a couple of things. So you see Doctor Strange, and he's in his Sanctum Sanctorum, which is great. I think you see Lego Wong, which is like his assistant, which is also really good.
Yep.
But what you actually also see is like a giant squid-like creature bursting through like the doors, like it looks like the doors. It could be like the walls or whatever.
Yeah.
Of the Sanctum Sanctorum, like it's attacking it's attacking Doctor Strange.
Right.
Now, this could mean nothing, or it could actually be a reference to a major Doctor Strange villain, which is Shuma-Gorath, which is a giant squid-like creature who attacks Doctor Strange.
Sounds like him.
But it could be. But it's different. The colors are different. The Lego version's red. It has two eyes. Shuma-Gorath is green. It only has a single eye. So it could be trying to throw us off.
Right.
Because everything with Doctor Strange so far has been kept behind like closed doors fairly well.
Yeah.
Like there haven't been any major spoilers. No one's really sure who the villain is or anything like that. So they've done a good job. This could be Lego fucking dropping the ball majorly. Or it could be nothing. But hey, it's kind of news, right?
It is.
So what are we going to do? But yeah, let's see. Let's see, because that is a movie that I'm actually really looking forward to.
Yep.
The most anticipated movie of all time.
You've heard it here. You've heard it here. Hey, talking about anticipated movies, Warcraft is now out, and it's getting some pretty average reviews. But in saying that, fuck what a critic says.
If we haven't said that enough before on the show, fuck critics.
Yeah.
Look, and we haven't actually seen this movie yet.
No,
because
it's not really in our forte.
It's not our forte, but it hasn't actually been released here yet.
That could also
That's probably
be
the biggest thing as to why we haven't seen it. But yes, it is getting some average reviews, but it's getting average reviews. It's kind of, again, it's got the internet divided on, they're kind of saying it's similar in the vein of Batman vs. Superman, that it's kind of made for the fans.
Yeah, right, okay.
So, if you're not understanding it, it's because you don't understand Warcraft.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to go watch it. I refuse to let a critic sort of tell me what a movie's going to be. But what are you going to do?
Yeah, that's right. Well, the critics are saying this movie's going to be a flop.
Yeah.
But this movie has made over $90 million in 2 days in China alone.
Just in China.
Just in China.
That's crazy. So what does it take then? What does it take? So if critics are saying this movie's going to bomb, how much money does it need to make for them to kind of go, okay, sure, we were wrong?
Yeah.
The movie can still be shit.
Yeah,
and still make
right.
money. That's, and I think this is one of those movies that people have been waiting a long time for it. And it's probably a good, 10 years overdue. But,
yeah.
Money is money.
Money's money. And money talks.
Money talks. Bullshit walks.
That's right.
That's a saying. I just made it up.
Is it?
No, I didn't. But anyway, go out and see Warcraft. We're certainly going to do it. Make up your own opinion.
Yep.
And let us know what you thought about the movie.
Yeah.
Speaking of movies, DC's next animated feature. Now, this is something that I'm really excited for. Justice League Dark.
Yes. Fucking bout time.
I would love to see a live-action movie of this, and there were rumors circulating that was actually going to happen.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it still is, or it's just, it's fallen to pieces or whatever. But Justice League Dark, after The Killing Joke, will be DC's next animated movie. These guys have a really good track record of nailing these movies completely.
Oh, their animated movies are on point. Every time.
And what it does do is it gives us back fucking Constantine.
Yes.
Which is good. So
he's headlining the movie.
Yeah. And obviously he's coming back in the DC Comics Rebirth, which is good as well. But if we're not going to see him on TV, if we're not going to see him in another movie, at least we get to see him in the animated movie, which is going to be cool as shit.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it big time.
Yeah, definitely. Warner Brothers cannot do anything wrong with their animated movies. Maybe they need to have a talk to their actual movie department.
Yeah.
And just get some, a little bit of a creative direction.
Yeah. Say, hey, maybe you just want to look at our back catalog.
Yeah.
And just have a watch and maybe, see how you go.
Yeah. Some other news that, I'm not really caring too much about, but, it's a little bit of nostalgia. The Voltron series is now on Netflix.
What?
Yes. And in case you don't know, do you know what that is?
Of course I know what Voltron is.
Yeah, okay, just making sure. And for those who don't know, it's a great cartoon from the 80s.
Yes, okay, is it Lion Voltron? Or is it like car, robot car Voltron?
No, I think it's Lion.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, old school, man.
Fucking that's the coolest Voltron.
Yeah, we should watch that tonight.
Okay.
Let's get some beers and Voltron it up.
We'll get Voltron and beers. I did not know that was on Netflix. I'll be 100% completely honest with you. But I'm glad I know now. Because if it is that... Oh, wait. Okay, hang on. Let me clarify. So it's a new series.
Yeah, it's a new series.
So they're redoing it.
Yeah.
So it could be like new He-Man, which was terrible.
Could be. But I haven't watched it, so I can't tell you.
Okay. All right, we don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. And the last bit of news for the week, Kevin Smith announces Mallrats is actually going to be a 10-part TV series.
And that's going to be cool as fuck.
That's going to be cool as shit, but are we talking about... Because remember he announced, not that long ago, that he was making Mallrats 2. And he'd gotten everybody on board, I think except for Ben Affleck, who he was waiting for... the whole hype around Batman vs. Superman to die down before he actually approached him about being in the movie.
Okay.
So are we talking about a Mallrats 2, but in a series? Or are we talking about they're recreating Mallrats into a 10-part TV series with different actors?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because that I wouldn't get into.
Yeah, I know. We'll have to find out on that one. But maybe it's a Mallrats 1.5.
Maybe. I'm going to go with Mallrats 2 instead of a movie done as a TV series.
Yeah.
Which I think would be fucking cool. Because I know he got every single person back on board except for Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened to Jason London, I think his name is.
Couldn't tell you.
He was TS? Whatever.
Ah.
Anyway, because I think that guy went through some shit.
Oh, really?
I don't know if he is actually, what he is actually doing with his life right now.
Right.
I don't believe it's acting.
There you go.
But
Getting some correctional facility action?
Maybe.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, I would be excited. Look, man, Mallrats is one of my favorite movies of all time. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
When I talk about Stan Lee cameos, that's the type of Stan Lee cameo that I'm talking about. That's what the guy deserves. Fucking bring it on. Whatever.
Internet still hates you for that.
Whatever, man. Sorry, everyone.
And that's going to bring us to the weekly wrap, the segment where we wrap up all the week's TV action. Starting off this week with Preacher, episode 2, titled C.
Well, that was lovely.
That was lovely. Jesse accepts his power. Chillip continues to harass him about the job, and Cassidy goes 1v2 in real life in a church against some mysterious bad guys.
Ooh, I like a bit of mystery. A bit of mystery surrounding my bad guys. Yeah, look, I think the way this episode opens up is pretty good. This episode opens up and it's in 1881, I think it was, and we're in the Wild West or whatever. And it opens with potentially our first look at the Saint of Killers.
Yes.
I think they call the guy in the credits or whatever the cowboy. But this is going to be the Saints of Killers, I guarantee it. It was a brilliantly shot scene. I think it didn't really, you tell me, because you haven't read the comics.
Yeah.
So what did you think? Because, for me, it didn't really give us much more than just that cold open.
Yeah, no.
Were you confused? I guess I've kind of,
Yeah, absolutely. I was really confused, but I think it was just meant to bait me.
Right, yeah.
The scenes where, there's some brutality in there.
Yeah.
These guys aren't fucking around.
Yeah.
And they don't really explain it. They kind of just leave it there.
Yeah.
So I'm really intrigued to know who these people are and what they're doing.
Yeah. And I think how I think they're going to do it, I think it's going to be something that they're going to play with over the first season.
Yep.
I don't want to say similar to Arrow flashbacks, but in that kind of vein where they will slowly start to introduce this character, and we might get sort of more of a big reveal in the finale or somewhere like that. I think somewhere later in the season, this guy is going to come into play in the way that in a way that he comes to play in the comic books as well. And I'm not going to sort of tell you how if you haven't seen it. I don't want to spoil too much, if you haven't read the comics.
Yeah.
But get excited about this character, because if they nail it, it's going to be fucking awesome.
Now, I need to ask you something, and, at the risk of sounding like a complete dickhead.
Well, it's never stopped you before.
Never stopped me before. Now, Preacher is set in modern day.
Correct.
Is this guy immortal, or is it kind of something that gets passed on?
It's, again, without kind of spoiling anything.
Yeah.
You would basically, go more to immortal than anything else.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of did, I know we did a Preacher special, and I know I spoke a lot more about it back then, but, there were heavy spoiler alerts in that as well.
There was.
So I don't want to jump into it and kind of ruin it for anybody. But yes, immortal. But let's see what happens, and let's see how it plays out. Played by a Scottish actor, Graham McTavish, who I didn't actually know at the time because he was barely recognizable, and he had one line.
Yeah.
But that guy is a beast of a man. He's going to be awesome.
Cool.
Yeah. So anyway. That's me. I'm done.
You're
I'll see you
done?
later.
All right, catch you later. I noticed in this episode, there was a bit more of a build-up between the friendship between Jesse and Cassidy.
Yep.
The excellent church scene with Cassidy fighting the two antagonists with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
He's all over the place, that guy.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't give a fuck.
He doesn't. But how good was that scene?
It was awesome.
Like, it was a little bit out of nowhere. But basically, yeah, it's Jesse drinks some fucking crazy fucking moonshine shit, passes out,
Knocks him out cold.
These guys basically turn up, and they obviously want the power that is within him.
Yes, actually, one thing I noticed is that when Jesse is passed out on the ground, you can see the whatever is inside him, Genesis, is kind of gurgling away.
Or is that just his stomach?
I don't know. I couldn't tell. I really thought it was Genesis.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, and because you see that scene, and then these guys then come into the church.
Yeah.
So,
and they've got a really, really strange ritual as to how, and let me tell you, it's nothing that you see in the comics, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But it's a very, very strange ritual in regards to the coffee can on his stomach.
Yeah.
And I think, what's that thing called that they play? Is that a phonograph or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's a phonograph, yeah. Sounds quite demonic, actually.
Yeah.
The sounds that were coming out of that.
And then the guy's singing some weird shit, and nothing happens. And then, the other guy's like, fuck it, let's use a chainsaw. And then all hell breaks loose. Cassidy comes back. Best scene of the season. We're only 2 episodes in.
Yeah.
It was fucking fantastic. But it shows that these guys, and this is a thing that kind of, again, on the internet, people weren't 100% sure where these guys were coming from.
Right.
And there's a scene towards the end where now it's like after Cassidy has, chopped them up and he's put them in the box and he's buried them in the ground, where they're back and they're in the hotel room and they're talking to Sheriff Root.
Yes.
And people weren't sure if that was a flashback or if that was, them again.
Yeah, like reincarnated or
Yeah,
something.
so I personally am going to go with that's them again.
Yeah.
Because I firmly believe that this is Fiore and DeBlanc, if I'm saying it right. I mean,
Okay.
It's hard to pronounce it when you're just reading it.
Yeah.
But Fiore and DeBlanc from the comics. Again, I won't go into too much about who they are. But again, in the similar vein to the Saint of Killers, they are also immortal, as it were.
Right, okay.
Right. So I believe that is them for sure.
Okay.
But let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Because that's actually, that's getting really interesting.
Yeah, it is. I'm just throwing this out there.
Yep.
Cassidy has to be my favorite character, and also seems like he's a fan favorite at the moment.
Yeah, man. This guy is going to be fan favorite character of the year.
Yeah,
I reckon. If you're watching Preacher,
he's the
if you're not, you crazy.
He's the Daryl Dixon of Preacher.
Yeah, for sure.
He's awesome.
And he's being played fucking excellently.
Yeah,
by Joseph Gilpin.
He is reckless as fuck, and that's what I like.
Yeah, just me too.
Live your life.
And he actually mentions to Jesse in this that he is a 119-year-old vampire. I don't know if Jesse actually believes it because they're kind of like drinking. He's like just thinking he's shit talking or whatever. But he has said it officially. This is Cassidy. He's a 119-year-old vampire. Fucking deal with it.
It's looking good for his age.
He is looking good. Tulip, however, for me is someone who's kind of hard to like. And, the reason I say this, I get the whole ass-kicking female persona. That's great. Ruth Negga plays it well. This is one character, though, that seems so far removed from the comic books. It's like they're almost essentially just using the name.
Yeah.
For this particular person.
Okay. Yeah.
Because she does act a lot differently in the comics.
Yeah, I was going to say, she is kind of a dickhead.
In the show. Yeah. She definitely has some dickish qualities, that's for sure.
Yeah, and she...
Not quite dickhead Shane.
No, not dickhead Shane, but not fucking far off it, in my opinion.
Yeah. And that is very far removed from the character in the comics, even though she is quite a badass, ass-kicking, gun-toting, whatever.
Yeah.
She just doesn't act like a prick. All the time. But that's fine. Look, I mean, again, we're 2 episodes in. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's see how they progress that. You know, like I've got to give it a chance before I really start to come down on it. Because I like it.
Yes. That's good.
So, yeah. And we also get to see our first look at Odin Quincannon, played by Jackie Earle Haley, or a Rorschach from The Watchmen.
Yes.
Or Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street reboot. Or several other things that Jackie Earle Haley's been in. Again, there's not a lot to go on with this particular character. He only comes in for one little thing.
Yeah, just a small scene.
Yeah, let me just buy this house off you. We'll just move the stuff outside and then we'll clear it.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to have a really good ramifications for the story, even though they're introducing a character from the comics way, way, way later in the comics. They're introducing him as the main antagonist, it would seem like now.
Right.
But that's fine.
Well, look, we've got about 3 antagonists going on in this TV show, and we're only 2 episodes in.
2 episodes in, and it's fucking great.
I feel like we're going to be balls to the wall for the rest of this season.
Yeah, I think so. I think it started like the pilot was a very a gradual ease into it.
Yep.
And now I think it's going to get more and more, especially now that Jesse seems to have effectively accepted or is getting an understanding of his power.
Yeah. And I don't know if you saw the trailer for next week's episode.
I haven't.
Haven't you? No. He is definitely going to be exploring that in the next few episodes.
Well, that's good. And I think they're going to play on it a lot more. I think I said it last week, or 2 weeks ago, sorry, when we spoke about the pilot. Again, it's one of those things in the comic that, he uses every now and then, but it's actually not a major player in the grand scheme of the comic book sort of lore. But I think they will play on that a lot more because it has the potential to be really, really fun with the shit that he can do with it. So.
Yeah, well, from what I saw in the next episode, they are going to have some fun with it.
Yeah.
Cassidy finds out about it. He says, "I'm pretty sure. Let's go tear some shit up with it."
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Cool. So I love that guy. He's so fucking off the hook.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah, man. Like honestly, one of the ones that they've fucking nailed for sure.
Yeah.
You want to rate it? What'd you rate it?
I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. I'm really enjoying this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you think though, as again, and I refer to you all the time, because you're my co-host and you're right there in front of me and the only person around that can speak back to me, but B, because you haven't read the comics. So like, is it confusing? Are you finding it like easy to get into?
You know what? There's a lot of stuff I don't understand, but it's not turning me off the show. It's intriguing me. And I actually want to watch more.
That's good.
It's not something I feel like I have to watch each week. It's something I want to watch each week.
Cool.
And the writing's great. The direction's great. These guys are killing it.
Well, I think, from episode 3, we probably don't have to. We can probably dispense with the comic book, cross references.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just good to, as you get into it, to sort of get an understanding of what they're trying to play at. Outcast.
Oh, wait. What do you rate it?
Oh, 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give it a 4.
4 out of 5.
Whatever. I was just ready to move on.
Yeah, Preacher returns next week with The Possibilities.
The possibilities of what?
Exactly.
Returning next week? Play on words. Outcast. Am I good to go?
You are good to go.
Thank you. So Outcast, it's pilot episode. Darkness Surrounds Him. So this is the the pilot for the Robert Kirkman based TV show comic adaptation of the same name, Outcast, which is actually only 18 episodes, 18 issues in, I think, 18 to 20, something like that.
Yeah, right. Because I've never actually heard of the comic.
It's relatively new. Like I think it's I genuinely think it was like October of 2014 or something like that it came out. And they're already adapting it into a TV show, which is great.
Yeah.
But too soon? I don't know.
We'll find out.
Does it matter? I guess we'll find out. But look, this is the pilot. So in the pilot, a young man teams up with a priest to find answers as to why he has spent his entire life being chased by demons. And I think we've got to give it up to Twitter. Is that the word you use when referencing people on Twitter?
Someone who tweets.
Yeah,
as
a tweeter.
A tweeter.
Is that right?
I think so.
So Twitter at Gleeson K for pushing us off the fence with this one, because we were kind of like a little bit, man, should we watch it? Should we not?
Yeah, you did mention it a couple of times.
Yeah.
I was like, eh.
And then it's kind of like, Yeah,
all right.
let's
Why
do
not?
it. Why not? And like I said, so based on the comic book by Robert Kirkman and Paul as a setter. I mean, I hate pronouncing people's names like when you haven't actually heard them in real life. I hope I don't mess anyone's names up, but I guarantee I have. And it's basically the story of Carl Barnes, who has grown up plagued literally with demons, who eventually teams up with Reverend Anderson to find answers to his past and battle the devil himself.
Yes.
What did you think?
This episode, I actually texted you while I was watching this, and I was like, oh man, I don't know if this show's for us.
Really?
Yeah.
So, like, why is that? Like, just the horror themes, or
Well, this more so played out like a movie to me.
really?
Yeah, and it was very slow going the first, I'm going to say 3/4 of the episode.
Really?
Yeah, I found it, there was a couple of really good shock scenes in it, as in the child biting his finger off.
Well, how about the opening scene?
Well, the opening scene, I saw that and I was like, what the fuck?
If that doesn't set the tone for what this show is going to be about, like, I don't know what does.
Yeah, so it got me hooked in that first little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of lost me in the middle.
Okay.
For a large portion. I just couldn't relate to it. But the way it ended, and it ended strong, it sold me.
Cool. Well, that's good.
I'm hooked now.
Because I have spent money on this now, so we need to continue with it. Because I jumped on Comixology and I grabbed myself the first 10 issues so I could actually have an understanding of what the source material was, because I dead set not read it.
Yeah.
And I'm not ashamed to say that, but I hadn't.
You're the comics guy.
I know, right? Like, what's wrong with me? But it definitely helped me to understand what was happening, and I think where it's headed.
Yeah.
And look, if you're not into gore, and if you're not into like demonic sort of aspects, and basically like at one point we had like a weirdly contorted kid, kind of freaky looking paranormal activity, but way better sort of stuff happening. If you're not into that, this show's probably not for you. But let me tell you, look, the way for me, the way it played out was really good. And having read the comics, some scenes and dialogue are 100% straight out of the book, which is fantastic. It doesn't always play well. There's a little bit where it's like, it seems a little bit wooden because the dialogue actually plays better on a page than it does when it's someone trying to say it to you.
Yeah, right.
But for me, like the overall tone of this show is, it's dark, it's horrific, it's in the vein of like the graphic sort of aspects of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And I only refer to that because it's obviously another Robert Kirkman thing. And look, if you had to ask me, do I want to review Outcast or Fear the Walking Dead? It would be Outcast every day.
Really?
One episode in.
Yeah, there you go. Well, no, I'm gonna agree with you here, because these two shows that we actually got on at the moment, Preacher and Outcast, they are shot so much nicer than any of the other shows that we are watching at the moment.
So much nicer.
So much nicer.
They are so much nicer, you guys.
The cinematography in this stuff is beautiful.
You're right. It's done very well. Tonally, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's just whether they can get into the character depth with Outcast, because like people don't really say a lot in this show.
No, and that's why I couldn't connect with it.
Yeah, and even what am I now? I think I'm like 12 issues into the comic series.
Yeah.
You still don't really have an idea as to what's happening.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's going to bode for the season as a whole.
Yeah.
We actually have the next episode comes out today while we record, but we're going to kind of have to play it like an episode late.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they do drop on Saturdays on FX Australia. But I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I'm keen for it. As long as we start getting a little bit direction from who we're following here, a little bit more.
Well, look, I can clear that up for you.
Yeah.
Kyle Barnes, the main guy.
Yeah.
And the Reverend.
Yeah. Okay.
They're the two.
Well, I figured as much.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to where we go with this.
But that's where it's headed. It's based kind of all around Kyle Barnes' life, because his entire life he's kind of been plagued by these demons. They possessed his mother when he was a kid. They possessed his wife.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
That was great.
As well. So, so it's kind of like, It's kind of like a why the fuck is this constantly happening to me?
Yeah.
But he doesn't actually realize that it's happening fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
So, but it's building to something, but I still don't know what that is.
Interesting point. My girlfriend loved this show.
That is very interesting.
Loved it way more than I did. So
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's good, and that's from a completely unbiased opinion.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah. And, it's also, she loves horror movies.
Yeah.
So they're kicking goals with this one.
Yeah, that's good.
That's straight through the middle post. That's 6 points for you, Troy.
Is that some sort of sport reference?
It's an AFL reference.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to rate this one because I missed out on the last one. You had to bring me back in. Again, I thought it was like I think we're looking at like a 4 out of 5. I think it was a very solid pilot based on a very good comic. And it has me wanting more for sure.
Okay.
I will be back next week or tonight or tomorrow, whenever I actually get a chance to watch it.
Yeah. I'm going to meet you on that. As much negative stuff as I said,
Yeah.
I am going to give it a 4 out of 5 just because I loved everything about it apart from the little bit of a crazy story going on.
Yeah.
Which hooked me at the end, though.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's good.
4 out of 5.
Fantastic. So if that doesn't give you some sort of indication about what we're going to be talking about in our segment next, we are talking about epic comic book movie failures. And we went to Twitter and we asked you guys, what is the worst comic book movie adaptation of all time? And you guys answered with gusto. And with more than 230 votes, we've compiled a top 5 list, I guess. Yeah, a top 5 list based on your votes and commented suggestions. Didn't we?
We did.
Is looking at me.
I am.
So I do want to just get into it.
Yes,
we may as well. So
yeah.
we've got 5. Based on what you guys said, we've decided, it's our opinion.
Yes.
But we have basically compiled this list, starting off with
Number 5.
number 5 is going to be Elektra from 2005.
And what a hot shit mess this movie was.
Yes, it was. Look, directed by Rob Bowman and starring the lovely, don't get me wrong, the absolutely wonderful Jennifer Garner as Elektra Natchios. It's currently sitting at 10% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yes. Now, this is when Jennifer Garner was at the height of her career as well, wasn't it?
Like Alias was, actually, I think Alias might have been winding up. Perhaps
Right.
it might have been
Okay.
into its last seasons.
Maybe she wasn't at the height of her career.
Oh, look, I don't know. Alias was
Pretty
2
cool.
seasons of brilliance.
Yeah.
3 seasons of, a show that I continued to watch because I was 2 seasons invested.
Yeah, you love that show, actually.
I
You
did,
have,
man.
You have it all on DVD, don't you?
Well, it's part of the reason why I love Jennifer Garner is because she married Ben Affleck, who I also love.
That's right.
If I haven't said that enough.
You were living through her.
Yes, I was. Look, so Twitter user @_master debaters said, or Twitter users, I guess.
Yeah.
They're multiple.
Tweeters.
Tweeters. Said that has to be Elektra. Awful, awful film.
And it actually is.
It actually is. Realistically, the only highlight of this film, for me, is looking at Jennifer Garner.
Yes, just looking at
her.
The beauty of her.
And if you're not into that, then let me tell you, this movie has absolutely nothing for you.
I remember I watched this movie, I think the year it came out, and I actually waited for DVD because I remember back then I am not spending my money on that shit in the cinemas.
Really? Even back then? Before
Yeah.
you really sort of had an understanding about how good like superhero movies could be?
Yeah, well, I remember her in the Daredevil movie, and she didn't make that much of an impact on me then.
Didn't she die?
I'm pretty sure she died.
So is this movie, and this is, look, I watched 4 out of the 5, okay, for this segment. I actually spent my week watching shitty movies, but this is one of them that I didn't watch fully. But is this, was this a prequel then to Daredevil? Can you remember that?
I think it was. It had to be because it was her origin story.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was her origin story.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Someone let us know who actually watched the movie recently.
Yeah.
That would be great.
What I do remember quite vividly, though, is that this movie itself had absolutely like no identity. So it kind of wanted to switch, like it sort of barely used the source material.
Yep.
And it kind of wanted to switch between, a martial arts movie, a fantasy movie, the magic elements. And it just kept flipping between these themes, and it just didn't really seem to have any direction or any purpose or anything like that.
To be fair, though, does the Elektra comic actually do anything? Is there really much of a story with the Elektra comic? Because she's always been shoehorned. Well, she was originally shoehorned into Daredevil.
Yeah.
So has she actually gone out on her own in her own story? That's what I'm really trying to say here in the longest way possible.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Look, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. You would call me the comics guy, I guess, out of the two of us. I have no idea. I think this movie did not make me want to read anything. As much as I love Daredevil, and the Daredevil movie didn't take me away from that, I couldn't tell you. I'm pretty sure Elektra got her own solo run, but what actually happened, I honestly don't know. I can tell you that this movie, however, happened once upon a time. I remember there being more flashbacks in it than 4 seasons of Arrow.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's just
right.
constant flashbacks to her past, where I think some, it's like a devil that becomes a ninja that becomes the main guy that she fights at the end of the movie, like killed her mother or something, and she keeps having these like flashbacks or these hallucinations or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, it was just a wishy-washy mess of like what the fuck is actually happening.
Right.
The plot itself is actually pretty ridiculous.
Constantly chasing its tail.
Well, so effectively what happens is Elektra is, this assassin, this, master assassin or whatever. And she's done a job and she's out in the wilderness and she's meets this girl and her dad. And then it's like she finds out that those are her next targets.
Of course,
naturally. So the handsome stranger from down the road and his 15-year-old girl, for whatever reason, are the actual next targets. And so she spends a shit ton of time protecting them from the Hand, who, just pop up out of nowhere when she decides that she's not going to actually kill them.
Okay.
So they come out of nowhere. So it turns out these people, the husband and the daughter, actually have like fucking martial arts abilities and shit, and they can actually fight the Hand themselves.
So she's not needed at all.
So she's not only is she not needed, at no point ever until they finally do did they, try to help her or try to like give her any fucking assistance, while she's trying to take on these guys. And what it actually comes down to is like they're being chased by these 5 magically powered fucking ninjas. I think there's 5 of them. There's like the big dude who's like really strong.
Yeah.
There is like the lady that poisons everything. There is the dude that has tattoos, and his tattoos become actual like things.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There's another guy, and there's the main guy who I don't actually know what he does.
The ringleader,
other than being like some sort of master ninja. And it's got like the shittest ending. It's like got a really, really drawn out fucking fight scene in sheets. And
I do remember that.
Because
yeah,
that was fucking like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
Stop throwing sheets around everywhere.
Yep.
And anyway, and then they finally catch up, and then she just stabs him, and like it's done, and that's it.
Disappointing.
And then there's I think there's one person left, and I actually watched this on YouTube, like the ending on YouTube.
Yeah.
So there's one person left. I think it's the chick that can like kill things with her breath or whatever she does, like have a tic tac for fuck's sake. But she throws her sai like through this hedge maze, and it just hits her in the head and she dies. She like throws it like, I don't know, fucking a million miles.
That's fucked.
And it hits her in the head. It goes through bushes,
yeah.
Cade. Like it goes through fucking bushes and it hits her in the head and she dies and that's it. And then it's kind of like, well, fuck, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I saved everyone.
Fantastic. Of course you did.
So, I don't like, what else do I need to say, really? Do yourself a favor, though. If you haven't seen it, watch it just so you can see like how completely fucking unnecessary this movie was in the first place. I think it's one of those movies that no one ever fucking asked for, yet they still got.
Yeah, something. It was going off the limited success of Daredevil.
Yeah, were you going to say success of Daredevil? Because, I mean, again, that's a movie that copped a lot of shit. And then they fucking took a character from that and made another movie.
Took the worst character from the worst movie and made a even worse movie.
What did you think was going to fucking happen, Rob Bowman?
Crazy dickheads.
I'll tell you what happened. It made $56 million worldwide.
Yes, worldwide. However, it only had a budget of $43 million.
I don't know what they fucking spent that money on.
Yeah.
CGI fucking, like, tattoos.
Yeah, probably.
And sheets. It's probably half the budget was on fucking sheet sets.
Yes.
Let's move on.
Number 4.
Number 4, it was 100% definitely going to pop up somewhere. But number 4, Batman and Robin from 1997.
Yes.
Directed by Joel Schumacher, of course, and starring George Clooney and Chris O'Donnell as the main characters, Batman and Robin. Currently sitting at 11%. Rotten, mind you, on Rotten Tomatoes.
There you go.
Indeed.
Now, we actually covered this. We dedicated a whole episode to how bad this movie was.
All the way back in episode 2.
And we would like to thank at Podcast Rage. They put their vote for this movie.
They did, and it actually sparked quite a hilarious back and forth between a couple of people in regards to who could remember the shittest thing from this fucking movie.
Some things got weird, some things got very funny.
Yeah, some things got very, very weird in relation to Alfred and his relationship with his grandniece or niece or whatever it is. But honestly, what can we really say about this movie that we haven't already said in episode 2? Like, I guess it's good for a laugh.
It is good for a laugh.
It's probably good for the kids. You know, if you wanted to introduce them to a really, really fucking terrible but lighthearted version of Batman and Robin.
Yeah, that's right. And this is really the most comic booky movie that has probably ever been made.
Yeah. Well, I think when we did the podcast, you made the comment that it was kind of like it was made to sell toys.
Yeah, and that's why everyone's outfits are so outlandish. All the sets are so bright and colorful, and like you said, it's all to push toys.
Yeah, the Batmobile was legitimately the shittest Batmobile I've ever fucking seen in my entire life, and I've seen like 7.
At least 7.
So I've seen some homemade jobs that were better.
Well, the thing that I loved most
about
the Batmobile in this movie was the fact that it defied gravity and it could drive up the side of buildings, and it also had a disco ball in the front of it.
Yes. What was that for?
Random
Bat disco time, like who knows, man. It had the Bat credit card, for fuck's sake.
Yep.
Like he actually
valid forever.
Valid forever. Like, come on, man. I don't know what the fuck you're thinking, but the biggest thing, if I've got 2 words to say about this movie, you know what I'm going to say. If I got 2 words to sum up this movie, bat nipples.
Bat nipples for days.
Bat nipples everywhere. George Clooney, bat nipples. Robin nipples. I don't know if you can call them bat nipples, but Robin nipples.
This was
Batgirl nipples.
Yeah, that's weird.
That is weird.
Considering that Alfred made that suit for her.
She's a schoolgirl.
Yeah, Alfred. What's wrong with you, man?
Like, honestly, you don't need nipples on your suit. There is no functioning reason as to why you would have nipples on your bat suit.
Yeah.
If there actually is a scientific reason...
Might be aerodynamics.
Maybe it's aerodynamics. Let us know, because I can't figure it out.
Yeah. However, a bit of saving grace for Alicia Silverstone. That's who was playing Batgirl.
Correct.
We mentioned this in our episode 2, but she actually put on too much weight to fit into her costume.
Yeah.
For a large amount of the shootings, so we don't actually get to see her in the costume as much as they probably wanted.
Yeah, or they had to do alterations to it or something like that.
Yeah.
Or just grease her up to get it in it. Like I don't know what they had to do. So Batgirl was definitely an issue. Bane fucking killed it for me. Like, you know.
Yeah. Just a brainless fucking drone.
Yeah, just a beast of a man. I can't remember his name, and I do apologize because he did. It's Tyler something.
He was a wrestler, wasn't he?
He was, and he did pass away. But, fuck. It's probably from this movie.
Probably. And there's a couple of interesting things to point out. They give him a serum. Instead of calling it Venom, they call it Super Soldier Serum.
Yeah.
Which kind of was like an elbow in the side.
Yeah, to Marvel and Captain America and all that sort of stuff. But literally, on the bottle of stuff, Super Soldier Serum.
Yeah. And I think it was even blue.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I have to go back and watch it, which I'll never do.
I never do. Bane was fucking terrible. George Clooney basically mailed his fucking performance in with a 45-cent stamp. It was fucking terrible. Saved purely by the amazingly talented Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze.
Killed his role in this.
Absolutely seemed to be the only guy that loved it and wanted to be there.
Yeah, he looked like he was having so much fun in this movie.
Yep.
I think he knew because he knew how shit it was.
Yeah. His ice puns were fucking amazing.
And what'd you say?
I'm saying that lightly, obviously. But
there was about 23 of them or something.
I can't remember exactly. I didn't re-look at the facts for this. But there was a lot, and there's YouTube videos dedicated just purely to all of his ice puns.
That's amazing.
So if you want to get out there, just look at Mr. Freeze ice puns. It's like 2 minutes long, and it's just non-stop fucking amazingness from Arnold Schwarzenegger, let me tell you.
That's great.
But it does definitely rank as one of the worst comic book adaptations out there. How'd it go money-wise?
Not too bad. It had a budget of $125 million, and it made worldwide 238.
So while
ask
amazing,
a critic.
Is that enough for a critic? I don't know. It's not quite double the budget. But I'm surprised that, we all spent $230 million to watch this movie, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I did not. I did not see this at the cinemas.
Oh. Good for you. All right. I think we've said enough, man.
Yeah.
If you want to know more about how terrible that movie is, go back and listen to our episode 2, because we devote probably about 16 hours to how bad it is.
Yeah. I think we actually tried to rush the review. Let's just get it done. It's out of here.
Yeah.
It's that bad. All right. That takes us on to number 3.
Number 3, as voted by you guys, are Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, from 1987. Directed by Sidney J. Furie and starring the great, mind you, Christopher Reeves as Superman, and is currently sitting at 12% rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, this is one of the movies that I actually did rewatch for this. I will say that I only made it 50 minutes in. There's only 86 minutes, but I made it 50 minutes in because it is actually legitimately fucking terrible.
So those final 36 minutes, you just couldn't do it.
I couldn't redo it. Like, I've seen it before. It's not like I've never seen the movie, but I just couldn't, in good faith, sit through it again, because where I got up to was just basically killing my soul.
Well, at Loki FX had this to say about the movie.
Yep.
Superman 4, the main enemy, Nuclear Man, blonde-haired guy with a perm and golden fingernails, just freakish.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. Think about it. I now know what we're going to use as the image for this episode.
Are you going to use Nuclear Man?
I am going to use Nuclear Man.
Yes. Played by a long forgotten actor, unfortunately named Mark Pillow. Pillow, because this movie will fucking put you to sleep, is where I was getting at with that.
Or you want to just
suffocate yourself with a pillow. Or it, packs about as much punch as a pillow in a pillow fight. How many more do you want?
Yeah.
We can keep going. Nuclear Man was created by Lex Luthor. Now, I want to tell you this guy's origin story. I want to tell you how...
Because it has been a while since I've seen this movie.
Let me tell you. Now, Gene Hackman continued on as Lex Luthor and was absolutely fucking hamming it up to the days in this movie. So what he wanted to do is he got himself a strand of hair from Superman, and I'll explain to you later how he got that strand of hair, right? But he got himself a strand of Superman's hair. He did something with it, put it on a nuke, and flew it into the sun right? Because he said with Superman's DNA and some nuclear energy, I can create anything, right? So take that science, because that's all it fucking takes. But let me tell you, don't interrupt me yet.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Because let me tell you what actually happens. So Superman is already in the process of disarming the world of nuclear weapons. It's what he's decided to do. Now, so he's putting them all into like a big net, and he throws them all into the sun, and that's fine. But there's still a couple left. Gene Hackman, Lex Luthor, whatever you want to call him, gets his hands on one of them and shoots it into the sun, as he wanted to do, right? And then what you see is this little ball of like energy sort of float out of the sun. And the little ball slowly turns into like a fetus.
Yes.
And then the fetus slowly turns into fucking Nuclear Man, costume and all.
Outfit
and all. So he has literally fucking created a guy with an outfit sourced from the fucking sun, from a strand of like the Superman's hair. And like, what do you even say about that?
What can you say? There's nothing.
You know what is even fucking worse, right? Is that Nuclear Man is rendered fucking completely useless as soon as he walks into the shade. If he's not in direct contact with the sun, he just fucking powers down.
How does that work?
Because he's fucking Nuclear Man, Cade. Because he's from the fucking sun. And if he doesn't have it, it's gonna, he's gonna power down. Obviously.
It makes total sense.
It does.
What about the fact that it will take a nuke years to get to the sun?
I think whoever... I don't actually know who wrote this movie, but I know it was directed by Sidney J. Furie. I think at some point they're just kind of like, fuck logic. Let's just make this fucking movie, man. And I think this movie might have been made to keep the rights to Superman.
Oh, right.
Because because like they have to do one every certain amount of like a certain years or whatever. Something has to be created.
Yep.
To stop the rights from going back to the original owners.
Yeah.
And staying with Warner Brothers. So they just churn out this shit, purely just to keep the rights.
Wow.
Now let me go back to how Lex Luthor got this fucking hair.
Oh, yes. Keep going.
Okay. I could do this for days, let me tell you. So he walks into a museum which is just on the verge of closing, and Superman has donated one of his strands of hair to the museum.
Yes, I remember this.
Yes, so he's donated one of his strands of hair to the museum, to like, it's on a showcase, and it's kind of like, oh, look how strong Superman is. His single hair can be tied up to a 1,000-pound ball, and it can support the weight of that 1,000-pound ball, which is cool.
Yeah, that's
cool.
Fine.
That's like fine. Lex Luthor then smashes the glass, and with a pair of bolt cutters, snip, snip, has the hair. Like,
obviously they were kryptonite laced.
Well, they weren't. They were like from Bunnings or fucking somewhere, and just a simple fucking pair of bolt cutters cutting through Superman's hair, which is holding up a 1,000-pound ball.
Logic.
Like, all right.
Logic.
Okay. This is the last thing I want to say about this movie, right? So, you know how, like, because I own the DVD still. Not even a Blu-ray. It's a DVD. I've had it for a million years.
Actually, I think I have it somewhere here in the office as well.
Yeah. So you know how, like, with DVDs or Blu-rays or whatever, when they bring them out, they try to hype the movie up themselves by bringing out, like, a quote or something like that from somewhere, like, awesome, best movie of the year.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
critical
like
reviews and
Empire.
all that sort of stuff. Yeah, all that sort of stuff. So let me read you the only quote they could find for this movie.
Right.
And this is the big one that they've, like, plastered on the back of the DVD.
Yeah.
Now, this is from Janet Maslin, who is from the New York Times. This is the quote.
Okay.
Christopher Reeve is still giving this character his all.
Wow.
So out of all the critics' reviews, that's the biggest praise they could possibly find.
Wow, that's fantastic. I'm surprised it's not something on there. If Twitter was around back then, it'll be at Comic Con Pod. It's not that bad.
Yeah. So two random dudes once said it's actually okay.
Yeah.
And I'll just read you the first line of the synopsis.
Okay.
Just so you can get an idea of how they're trying to sell this movie to people.
Yep.
So Christopher Reeve not only dons the title hero's cape for the 4th time, but also helped develop the movie's provocative theme, nuclear disarmament.
And that's it.
That's it. That's how they're trying to sell the movie.
That one sentence.
Oh, there's more.
Oh, right.
But,
okay.
it says, like, he, goes up against Nuclear Man. He, like, saves the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, I
all
was
this
going to
sort of
say,
stuff.
the one thing that I can really remember from this movie was the terrible fight where they're kind of fighting each other with the Statue of Liberty. And Nuclear Man is, like, flying off with it, and Superman's trying to bring it back.
This was 1987. Like this, it's not like we had fucking Star Wars movies, man.
Yeah.
We'd had like Raiders of the Lost Ark, and like we had some fucking great movies that, as far as special effects and all that sort of stuff, stand up like to this day.
Yeah.
But this is fucking not one of them. This was like some terrible, terrible shit. And it really is a sad, sad end to Christopher Reeve's career, because it was the last time he played Superman. I wish he never fucking did it. Warner Brothers, Sidney J. Fury, fuck you, man, for doing that to Christopher Reeves.
Well, I wasn't really a huge fan of the Superman classic movies anyway. I thought they were just...
You what now?
You heard me. You heard me.
That's almost as bad as my Stan Lee comment.
No. And I guarantee more people will agree than disagree that it didn't ever really do the character justice. Suited the time. That's fine. Let's move on. The movie had a very, very modest budget of $17 million.
Yep. Did it make that money back at least?
And no, it didn't. Now, it may have made it worldwide, but domestically, it only made $15.5 million.
Wow.
So you can chalk that up as a loss.
Yeah.
Big time.
Again, I really think it was just one that they churned out, similar to Superman Returns, just in an attempt to keep the rights to the movie. So rest in peace, Christopher Reeve. You were fucking great, but they fucked it.
Yeah. On to the next one.
Indeed.
Number two.
Now, this was a very close call. It was a very close call between number 2 and number 1. Number 2, we've got Catwoman at 2004.
Yes, came in with 34% of the votes.
34%. Now, that doesn't sound like it's close when you look at the grand scheme of what 100 is, but it got a lot of other comments as well.
Yes, it did.
From people. So, at Deathblow George said, definitely Catwoman. It's not even Selena Kyle. What a waste of such a huge talent as Halle Berry. At Jake_says, oh, come on, it's got to be Catwoman. Remember the out-of-nowhere basketball showdown scene? Do you?
No, I do not.
We will talk about that in a second. But let's so this is directed by a man known as Petoff. Literally his only name.
Petoff shit?
Yes. Known pretty much exclusively for visual effects rather than directing. Obviously had Halle Berry, as we mentioned, as Patience Phillips. Whoever the fuck Patience Phillips is. And is sitting at 9% rotten on Rotten Tomatoes.
Right. Maybe that's an in-joke. Maybe there was a producer named Phillips, and he was just losing his shit.
And
so
it's
like just Patience Phillips.
And someone's like,
oh, that's brilliant.
What the fuck? Selena Kyle, that's the shittest name. Patience Phillips?
Yeah.
Fuck, yes. Going back to the basketball scene just quickly.
Yeah.
It was fucking terrible. Now, I did rewatch this movie again. Like, I sat through this shit.
Fuck.
Yeah, like, oh, man, it's just fucking out of nowhere. It's once she first gets resurrected by this fucking ancient Egyptian cat that, like, breathes on her or some shit. And she's chasing old mate whose name I don't even, like, fucking remember. He's, like, the love interest.
Okay.
And... they're just out on a fucking walk through the city date, and they're at a basketball court, and then some kid's like, oh, 1-on-1, and then they're like, what, us? And then they just start playing fucking basketball, and it's terrible.
Oh my fucking God. Hang on, wait. Was that an ad placement?
For what?
I don't know.
Like, for shitty fucking basketball moves?
Was there like some Adidas, some Nike logos thrown around?
Well, look, if there was, I missed it, but like, no. It is like genuinely the weirdest thing, because I think what this guy has done, he's played this movie out like it's a fucking 90s R&B video kind of thing.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's kind of like it's like a cheesy. It's not even a good one.
Yep.
R&B music from the 90s was fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah, but the videos
But
weren't.
But this is like a cheesy, like a bad 90s R&B fucking, because every time like, some action starts, that type of music starts playing, and it's just fucking terrible.
Oh,
like,
man.
I don't even like it.
Well, this movie, it was obviously trying to play off the success of Halle Berry, who only just came off doing Swordfish.
Yeah.
And she got huge because of it.
Why did she get huge?
Well, there was a 2-second scene where she flashed her boobies.
Yep.
And the world went wild for it.
It actually did, because Swordfish was not a great movie.
No, it was quite terrible.
It was average. Hugh Jackman was in it. Hugh
Yeah.
Jackman's fucking deadly. But, ultimately it was pretty shit. But yeah, she actually went topless for the first time ever.
Yep.
And the world went nuts.
Yeah.
And I think then they decided to, let's get Halle Berry into as little clothing as we can.
Yeah, that's right, because her outfit was fucking terrible in this. What was it? Some chaps and a leather bra, and that was it.
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically that. Can I just tell you, like, I guess I should like run down how I feel like the basic plot of this whole thing plays out.
Yes, can you?
Because it's actually really fucking stupid.
Okay.
So Halle Berry works for a cosmetics company. She basically gets killed sticking her nose in something like where it doesn't belong. She ends up getting resurrected by an ancient Egyptian cat, like I spoke about before. And then she basically wears almost nothing to take revenge on the cosmetics company because they're selling a beauty product that ages you when you stop using it. And she eventually has a fight with the ex-face of said cosmetics company, Sharon Stone, who now has steel-hard skin because she's been using this product for so long.
So they're using...
I'm not even lying. Like, you couldn't make that shit up if you wanted to.
All right. So what I'm seeing here is they've used 2 iconic shock scene characters.
How do you mean?
Sharon Stone.
Okay, yeah.
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 Halle Berry. And that's what they used to sell this movie by the sounds of it.
Maybe.
That's fucking terrible.
Benjamin Bratt. There you go. It just fucking came to me. That's the dude's name. I think he was going out with Julia Roberts for a while.
Right, there you go.
Whatever. It just came to me. But yeah, like it's a terrible, like plot line to a terrible movie filled with terrible special effects from a guy that is known for visual effects. And this is 2004, Cade.
Yes, that's crazy.
Let me give you some sort of indication. Terminator 2, Judgment Day, came out in 1991. 1991.
Fuck, man.
And think about how fucking good or state of the art that was in regards to in regards to visual effects. And this is like The Flash TV show with it when it has shitty CGI.
Yep.
And it has good CGI, like sometimes, don't get me wrong. But when the CGI is shitty, that's kind of what we're looking at with this movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's so bad. And you know what? This movie had a budget of $100 million.
Yeah, and that is a shitload of money.
That is crazy. That's ridiculous for what this movie is.
Yeah.
Where did it go?
I don't know.
Money laundering.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I actually don't know what to say.
And sorry,
you go.
I was going to say, with the budget of $100 million, it only made, and this is worldwide, $82 million.
Wow.
I'm surprised it even made that much.
Me too. But it was fucking, like, I don't know, terrible. But people obviously were hyped enough to see it initially.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, what the fuck? This movie legitimately had nothing to do with Catwoman aside from the name Catwoman.
Yeah.
And some basic character traits. Because everything else was fucking nothing like it at all. I swear to God, they just played off the name and then just fucking went, like rogue. I demand a fucking reboot because Catwoman is a fucking, like, a fantastic, classic character that deserves her own standalone movie, but it deserves to be done well. I couldn't really tell you who I thought might be a good actress for the role, moving past Anne Hathaway, obviously, from The Dark Knight Rises. but maybe an Emily Blunt, something. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. You know what? It's actually quite surprising they didn't shoehorn a Catwoman into the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man.
Missed opportunity.
Whatever. I still, I think it demands a reboot because the movie was fucking terrible. Have I said that enough?
Yes.
Excellent.
All right, next one. Number 1.
And number 1, if you haven't guessed it by now, it is the Fantastic Four reboot from 2015. Came in with 48% of the votes.
That's a lot of hate. And what was that out of nearly 250 votes?
Yeah, 230 plus. I can't remember exactly what we ended on. But I guess the biggest thing with this movie is this movie came out in an age where I genuinely thought that they couldn't fuck up a superhero movie. Like, we have had so much good, not good, great, like top quality stuff come out.
Yep.
Like, this is 2015, so, you're talking about Iron Man, you're talking about Captain America, you're talking about, the Avengers.
The Avengers,
The 3 Batman movies were all out by that stage, I think. Maybe not The Dark Knight Rises, it came out.
Yep.
Oh, no, it did. Yeah, well and truly.
Yep.
So, I genuinely thought we were past the point where you might have a bad one, or one that might get some negative reviews, but not one that you can absolutely fucking tank.
That's right. And, it's even the same people that did all the X-Men movies, and they're coming good. Fox Studios.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going wrong?
Well, look, we'll talk about it a little bit. So it was directed by Josh Trank, who hasn't ever done a superhero movie before and has since said he will never do a superhero movie again. And it has what should have been like a killer young cast. Like, if you're going to cast a young Fantastic Four, then these guys are fucking great. You've got Kate Mara, who's been in like everything. Miles Teller from Whiplash, which is a fucking great movie and has pre-jacked, can I say pre-jacked? J.K. Simmons.
Oh, actually, he's still pretty jacked in that movie.
Yeah, like, he's an old dude that you probably wouldn't fuck with. Yeah. That's for sure. Whiplash was fucking awesome. Michael B. Jordan, I don't think he had done Creed at the time.
No.
But he was Vince Howard from Friday Night Lights, and I fucking love that show. I've said that about 1 million times already. And Jamie Bell, who I didn't really know who he was until my girlfriend pointed out that he was Billy Elliot from that movie, Billy Elliot.
Oh, he is too.
Yeah. And this movie is currently sitting at 9% rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. Talk about some Twitter. What did some Twitter people say?
At Dark Sean 85 said, "It's got to be the Fantastic Four reboot. Such a horrible mess. Feel bad for anyone who worked on that one."
Yep.
Ooh.
And he's not wrong, is he?
He is not wrong. He is savage, but he's right.
The movie did a couple of things right. Okay, now, not many, but it did a couple of things right. Like, as an example, I didn't mind the look of the Thing.
No, that was really quite good.
Right, it was very, very shitty that we only ever really saw the Thing, apart from the end fucking 2 minutes of action.
Yep.
We only ever saw him in video playback of, like, missions that he had been on.
Yes.
Which was very disappointing.
That looked like some rehashed Hulk vision as well.
It probably was. They probably just stole it completely.
Yeah.
But, in all honesty, I really enjoyed the look of the Thing. Like, I thought it was great. There were a couple other things that they did right. Like, I think, the way the Human Torch looked was pretty good. Like,
Yeah. I only watched this movie today because I haven't seen it before then.
There you go.
Yeah. And I thought 90% of this movie was done quite well.
Really? You'd give it that much?
Well, the last 10% really lets it down.
Well, yeah. For me, though, I disagree a little bit.
Okay.
Because while the first part of the movie was definitely 100% the stronger part, it still felt like an endless intro into these characters.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know that the movie is like only 100 minutes long or whatever it is.
Yeah, which is quite short for superhero movies these days.
And you're getting to the point where you're like, okay, where the fuck are these people? And like, when are they going to get their fucking powers?
Well, yeah, that's right. I was actually watching this movie and I pressed pause just to see where I was sitting. There was about 15 minutes left. And I was like, what the fuck's going to happen?
Yeah, look, I think as far as the actual, like, the characters and the story goes, they're really only recognizable as the Fantastic Four in name only.
Yeah.
Because, and the look, obviously, like the overall look and, all that sort of stuff. But for the most part, the storyline, like everything, it's just like some random shit. The villain, Doctor Doom, wasn't built to be anything other than like what turned out to be the worst fucking looking Doctor Doom that I've ever seen in my life. And I can't draw for shit. And I've drawn Doctor Doom, and it still looked better than that.
Yeah, that was fucking terrible. And it had his reason for everything was fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Absolutely stupid.
I don't even know if it's stupid because I don't actually know if they ever really said what his plans for anything was.
Well, I can tell you.
Okay.
He had the hots for
Sue Storm.
Sue Storm.
Yeah.
There wasn't really anything there.
Yeah.
So he's come back with the shits. Oh, by the way, they've left him on a planet.
Oh, yeah, that happened.
Yeah. Left him on a planet for exactly a year.
Yeah.
A little bit too convenient. And he's come back and said, oh, Sue, we could have been great. It's like, what are you talking about, mate? There was no fucking chemistry at all.
Yeah.
You fucked off because...
You fucked off.
For some
he
reason.
He got left on a planet, mate.
Oh, no. He, at the start of the
movie, yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm with you.
He is, like, left this company for some reason.
Yep.
Which isn't really explained too well.
Yeah.
Is brought back for some unknown reason.
Yeah.
Oh, because he started the project.
He started the project, and they found Reed Richards, who had basically discovered the missing piece as to how they could interdimensionally travel.
And by the way, why is Reed Richards at a children's science fair with his...
No.
He's a grown man.
Okay, I have... He might have still been a high school student that looked like a well and truly in his 20s. That's fine. I can deal with that. I've watched Dawson's Creek. That happened in that. Like, basically just any... Like, Friday Night Lights is another one.
Yeah.
That I can deal with that. I guess what I can't deal with, though, is they've effectively taken Reed Richards, who is one of the smartest men on the planet, if not the smartest man, like very much, within the top 3, probably. And they've kind of made him like a little bit of a bumbling idiot. Like, while he is a genius, everything seems to not really work out. It's kind of like, where he sends the plane and then the plane comes back and it's fucked.
Yeah.
And, like, he's like, oh, please don't blow up. Please don't blow up. Like, this is a guy that is so calculated in his thinking.
He knows what's happening every second.
Yeah, he's well and truly steps ahead. Like, this guy created, like, the Fantastic Car, I think it's called, and all that sort of stuff, which apparently was supposed to be in the movie, which we didn't see. But he basically has created all the technology that the Fantastic Four use, amongst many, many, many other things with Marvel Universe massive ramifications.
Yeah.
And they kind of made him like a little bit of a
bumbling dork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think was a discredit to the fucking character.
Yeah. There's a bit of a, shitty credit to all the characters in this movie, really, because there's no chemistry between anyone.
No.
At all. Everyone's just kind of forced into each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, I'm here now.
Yeah, well, and it's kind of like, it's played like, so Reed Richards and who is it? The Thing.
Ben Grimes.
Yeah, Ben Grimm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Grimm. Yeah.
So those two basically mention about 1 million times that they're best friends.
Yes.
Like, that's the only way they're trying to get the chemistry across.
Yes.
Like, it's like, we need to tell you that we're best friends because you can't actually tell that we're best friends.
That's right.
It's the same with Sue and Johnny Storm. Oh, you're my sister. Oh, you're my brother. Like, all that sort of stuff. Like,
there's Dad.
Yeah, like, we get it, but you're not showing it through character.
Exactly.
You're just telling us. You're fucking spitting it at us fucking 400 times in the movie.
That's right. And there was one thing that I had a little bit of beef with, is that exactly a point you've just made. Ben Grimm is his best friend.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be there with him every step of the way.
Yeah.
He is gone 90% of this film.
Yeah.
And it's just brought in at the last minute.
It's kind of like, oh, hey, man, we've finally done all this work. And because you were with me when I was doing it when I was in high school, come on this trip.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no, that's not actually how fucking things work. why were they in the same fucking high school?
Exactly.
Like,
Why isn't this guy at Mensa?
well, he's probably a member,
Could be.
but, you know, I mean, fucking, like, how are you still in what seems to be a public school?
Yeah.
Maybe he's too smart. People, like, think he's a little bit, like, weird or whatever. I don't know. I have to mention the editing.
Okay.
In this movie before we wrap it up, because there is 100% a fucking part in this movie that makes me so angry. So it's when Reed Richards first meets Sue Storm in the library, right?
Yes.
I think he met her before, but like the first time they actually interact. About as much chemistry as, you know, like I have knowledge of actual chemistry.
Yeah.
So very little for those of you like listening at home. But you know, it's kind of like she has like mousy brown hair.
Yes, I noticed that.
Right. Next time you see her, it's
Pure.
platinum blonde.
Yeah.
Next time you see her, it's fucking back to mousy brown, and then when she becomes the Invisible Woman, it's back to blonde.
Yeah.
And that's because Fox ordered reshoots.
Yes.
And they didn't have enough time to fuck with her hair, so they're just like, fuck it.
Let's
Let's just do it. We'll do the reshoot. No one's gonna fucking notice. Well, guess what, motherfuckers?
Everyone fucking did.
Everyone did, and that is fucking lazy.
That is dead set the laziest shit you can do when you're spending this much money on a movie.
I apologize for the swears as well for this week. Probably a little bit more than we normally do. But we're talking about some fucking terrible movies.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We're
Look,
just fucking passionate.
yeah, I understand that Josh Trank was being hugely pressured by Fox. And I understand the fact that, you know, this was another one of those movies where they're just trying to hang on to the rights.
Yes.
Without them reverting back to Marvel. Apparently, and I think his name is Toby Kebbell, who played Doctor Doom, says again, as they always say, there is an uncut version of this movie that is brilliant that you'll never get to see.
Actually, I think he only tweeted this today as well.
Yesterday or the day before, I saw it from him.
Yeah.
But I also remember Josh Trank himself was saying quite some time, like after the movie came out,
Yeah.
that this is a fact. Like. But, you know, Fox has made him cut this and cut that and, you know, all that sort of stuff. But ultimately, it doesn't fucking matter, because what you've done is you've taken what happened to be like my fucking favorite comic from when I was a kid,
Yeah.
the Fantastic Four, and you've taken classic fucking characters and somebody has already fucking ruined these characters.
Yes.
Right. When they did the shit in the early 2000s. Right. So somebody's already ruined them. You've got an opportunity to fucking make it great, and you fucking ruin it again. I don't care what your problems were. This is like one of the, you know, most loved comic book fucking families of all time, and, you know, you just shat on it.
Yeah, that's right. You know, these Fox executives have to learn from Deadpool. Stay away from it.
Yeah.
Just let the creators do their thing.
Yeah.
And you get fucking brilliant movies like Deadpool.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Or just give it up, man.
Give it up.
Like, you fucked it up twice.
Yeah.
Just give the fucking rights back to Marvel.
Or profit share with Marvel.
Yes.
Fuck,
Yes, profit share with Marvel like Sony did with fucking Spider-Man.
Oh, imagine what we would get.
Anyway. Money.
Yep. This movie had a budget of $120 million.
Yep.
It's not too bad.
That's not too bad. It's actually, like, not a lot.
It's not a lot for a superhero movie. Usually looking at, what, about 200, 250?
Well, considering, like, Civil War was 250, Batman vs. Superman 250.
Yeah.
120 is not a lot of money, considering what would be required to create the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, exactly. You know, a lot of CGI actually in the Fantastic Four members there.
Well, look, I'm not even going to talk about the finale, like the final fight scene.
Yeah.
Because it was just fucking like an absolute mess.
Oh,
it was just a mess of shitty fucking CGI and shit that didn't even make sense.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you haven't seen it, go see it purely just to understand what a fucking terrible movie is.
Well, I want to touch on it a little bit. Just because you get introduced to your villain for 5 minutes.
Well, yeah.
And they fight, and that's probably another 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's it. You're done.
So it's basically he comes back, or they bring him back.
They bring him back.
And then he's like, actually, you know what? Fuck you. I've got these like crazy fucking powers that I don't even know what they are. Exploding head. I'm going back, and I'm taking your Earth with me.
Yeah.
No.
And this is a point I wanted to make earlier. He wanted to bring the Earth back. He wants the Earth to die. He hates it. Why bring it back with you?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Fuck's sake.
It's not. He's like, my planet has given me everything.
Yeah.
I want to go back to my planet. Just go back to your fucking planet then.
Yeah.
No one wants you here. You look like a dickhead.
Yeah, exactly. Just let him fucking go. They're all trying to stop him. Just fuck off, mate.
Just go. You fuckhead.
Yeah. Piss off, you wanker.
You metal fucking dickhead.
So yeah, anyway, had a budget of 120 mil, actually made 168 mil. So it's probably...
It's not a lot of money.
It'll probably get a reboot.
Look, you said it before. Profit share... For fuck's sake, man!
Yeah.
This movie has the potential. Not this movie.
Get some Kevin Feige dust put on this.
Do something, because we need a Fantastic Four that we actually fucking care about.
Yeah,
don't we?
Oh, just the Thing versus the Hulk. Imagine, my god!
Oh, give us that.
Yeah,
just give us that in some sort of format somewhere.
That can happen. Then it won't be a Hulk solo movie.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true.
Fuck. Yeah.
Anyway, look, we that's it. We've done the 5. We do want to thank absolutely everybody who voted and had their say. Based on everybody's input, though, I want to give a couple of dishonorable mentions.
Yeah.
I think we should. Because there are a couple that, people wanted to mention, but they didn't quite make the cut. Daredevil from 2003, obviously.
Yep. Doctor Strange from 1978.
Yep. Howard the Duck, which I haven't actually seen yet, but Howard the Duck from 1986.
That is weird, man.
Is it?
Like, there's ducks with boobs.
Okay.
There's ducks that have...
Do ducks not have boobs?
Human boobs, like actual boobs, and you see them.
Okay,
that's weird.
That's great.
There's human and duck interrelations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Actually, while we're doing some research earlier, I saw a little ad on there that says how would the duck push the limits of movie history.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so actually should go back and read that. What else was there?
Age of Ultron somehow made it in there.
I'll agree with that.
It wasn't a fantastic movie. And the 1979, I think it was, Reb Brown helmed Captain America.
Yeah.
Which was fucking terrible.
Did you watch that?
I have seen it, yes. It is fucking insanely bad.
Wow.
But, didn't get enough votes.
And that means it's time for our final segment, Get to Know Your Favorite Hero, brought to you by Kasplat Comics and Collectibles. Immerse yourself in other worlds at kasplatcomics.com.au, or you can visit their Facebook page, Kasplat Comics and Collectibles. Check them out. We'll leave a link for you in the show notes, as we always do.
As we always do.
Because we are top blokes.
We are middle blokes.
We're not quite shit blokes.
We're not like top.
We're blokes.
All right, let's just talk about some comics, shall we?
Yeah.
Look, and we aren't going to do a comic countdown this week, which is kind of like the 4th week in a row, and I promise we're going to get back into that next week. But I do want to take a minute to talk about how good DC Rebirth has been so far.
It's been fucking awesome.
It's been great. Look, I'm beyond excited for what we already have and what's to come. I think Jeff Johns absolutely killed the 80-page special. It was like a throwback to the DC land time forgot, and it brought back a lot of joy for not only myself, but a lot of other comic readers as well. Batman was great. The Flash was terrific. The Flash was fantastic, I'll say. Superman and Wonder Woman was solid, and there's still a ton more titles to come. Red Hood and the Outlaws, Suicide Squad, the Hellblazer, bringing fucking Constantine back, which is great.
Yeah, man.
All titles that I personally cannot wait for. Needless to say, Rebirth has delivered, and in my opinion, is going to continue to do so. So get down to your goddamn local comic book shop and buy yourself some Rebirth, or jump onto sites like Comixology and get them digitally, because it is time to get excited about DC Comics again, let me tell you.
Yeah, that's right. And if you can't get excited about going to buy these comics and reading them, I guess, in person, jump onto YouTube and check out Comicstorian.
What's that?
This guy, he does a breakdown of everything. He's just fucking amazing.
Okay, like if you don't want to read it, he'll kind of like
tell
you what it's about.
Basically, he gives you a really good rundown. I watched the one he did on the Flash Rebirth.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, good for him.
Wally West comes back. It's just awesome.
It is.
So
it's great. But that is it for us for this week. That's going to do it for another episode.
We're done.
We are done. Stay tuned next week as we review Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Out of the Shadows.
Oh, I cannot wait.
Well, look, it's only just dropped in Australia. That's kind of why we're talking about it next week. But we're going to review that. In the meantime, thanks once again to everybody who listens, subscribes, leaves us a review. Don't forget, you can follow us on Facebook, Comic Confidential Podcast, Instagram and Twitter at Comic Con Pod.
Check out the website. Check out our Patreon.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Right now.
Did you do it?
Did you?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did.
Look, anyway, thanks for listening once again. As always, I'm Troy.
And I'm Kade.
And this has been Comic Confidential.
Cheers.
Peace.